Hello and welcome to my channel. The next problem that we are going to talk about is the letter combinations of a phone number. So when the input is 2, 3, output should be in this format. So the first thing we can do is basically we can write a method which will basically provide a map which will take an integer and give us a string, which would be, for if we are giving 2, it will give us ABC. So I'll be using Java 8 over here. Abstract map dot simple entry, and that will be for 2 ABC. Collectors dot to map, and for the get key, value. So we can simply construct a map also and simply populate with the integer and the respective mappings. Second method which we are going to talk about is some method which will take an integer and give us the corresponding mapping as string. This is a combination problem and we will make use of some variables. So we will use digits which would have our input. So in this case we are going with input 2 and 3. So there are few things to note for any combination problem. We will have our result to be stored. In this case it will be a list of string. We will also have a temp variable which will capture the temporary result. In this case we will be using a string builder. We will be having some start variable also to keep track of where we are. It will be starting 0. So we will also be using the method which we have defined, which is get mapping for a particular digit to give us all the mappings. So at the start what we will have is our digit, or basically the input, and start will be 0. So when start is 0, what we will do is we will also use a variable called letters, which will be a string which will have the mapping of the digit at start. So at this time the digit at start, which is 0, is 2. So it will have the values A, B and C. So we'll also make use of variable I, which will vary from 0 to the letters length. So here I is 0 and we will have A. So once we are going here, when I equal to 0, A is the value. So what we will have in our temp, which is the string builder, we will put this value over there. So temp will have the value A. After that we will make the start equal to 1. On start equals to 1, again we will take our letters, and the letters at this time will be getting the mapping of character which is at position 1, which is 3. and the mappings for that will be D, E and F. So once we comes here, our I, when we say 0, it will have the character D. Now we will again get D, append it to what we have already in temp, and this will become our temp. Now we will make S equal to 2. Once we go down, over here we will have our limiting condition. Because this is the one of the values which we want, because for possible combinations of 2 and 3, what we will have is 2 will map to A, B, C and 3 will map to D, E, F, and the set of values will be AD, AE, these are strings, AF and so on. So this is one of the values which we want. So what will be the limiting condition? So limiting condition will be if S, which is 2, equals to digits dot length, then what we will do is we will add whatever we have into temp to result and return. So over here, if we have our result will have AD, and we return. So at this point we can see temp will have A and D. So once it comes here, before we iterate for I equal to 1, what we will do is we will remove the last character from the temp, which is D in this case. So once we remove it, temp will again have the value A, and now I was 0 here. When you're reverting back, we comes here, I equals to 1. At this time, I equal to 1 means E. So then we will have A and E. This will be put into temp. S will become again 2. It will again come, it will hit our boundary condition. The value AE will be put into result and it will again go back. Once it comes here, I equals to 2 and the value it will have is F. So what we will have is A and F that we will put into the temp, because it's gonna hit the boundary condition. When it hits the boundary condition, AF will be put into the result. We will remove the last item from it, which is F. We will come back over here. Now this is our A, and once we are again reverting back, we will remove again the last item from it, and when we come here, I equals to 1 will now give the value of B. So we will have B, and the similar branches will follow for B also, and we will end up with BD, BE and BF, and these values will be added accordingly. Now I'll try to map this to working code, and the signature of the method will be taking result, temp and start. Generally every combination problem would be taking a result, a temp result and start, or some other counter to track, and maybe some other variables. So let's take method's name is compute. It will take a list of string, it will take a string builder called temp. We will also be taking our digits, which is our input actually, and the start. Along with that, we will also be needing the map, which will provide us the mappings. Now, as I mentioned, the first thing will be to take the letters. Letters would be a string which will make use of method get mapping for the particular value which is at the index start. So let's say letters. So from digits we will try to read the value at start. Now when we have got the letters, we need to iterate over the letter, and what we will use for this is index variable I. So once we are here at I equal to 0, we will have in this case a value A. That way needs to be appended to the temp. And after that we need to further invoke this method for the next digit. So we'll again invoke it, we'll pass the result into it, we will pass the temp also into it along with the digits. The value of start will become start plus 1, and then we have our digit map also. So it will go here, then from there it will hit here with the value of s equal to 2, and then it should hit our limiting condition. So for the limiting boundary condition, I'll put it here. If start is greater than equal to digits dot length, I want to put the temp into result. Now to return. Sorry. And as I mentioned, after putting it to the temp to result, when I'm going to revert back, I need to make sure the last character in the temp is also removed. Otherwise what will happen is once it reaches here and I is equal to 1, the value will be ADE, which we don't want, so we need to remove that also. So what we will do is temp delete char at temp dot length minus 1. So what we are trying to do is remove the character at the last. Now we are going to provide a public method. So we'll create a list to capture our result. We will also have a temporary, which is a string builder in this case. Our input start will be 0, as I mentioned. Over here we see here start will be 0, and the map will be returned by this method get digit map. We will return this result. So let's test it. So we have got the expected result. So if we see here, this is our digits, and from the digits which we are going to, what we are trying to do over here is take the digit which is at s equal to 0 over here, and this is the line which is precisely doing the same thing. So get digit mapping over here will try to give us the mapping of the digit which is at the start. In this case, at the start we have 2. So the mapping for 2 will be ABC, and then we are going to iterate over that. So we are going to have for I equal to 0, I equal to 1 and I equal to 2, which will give us 3 branches for I equal to 0, I equal to 1, and another branch which I haven't shown here is for I equal to 2, which in this case will be C. Once we get that, we will append the letter which we have here, which is in this case A. So we will say letters dot caret I, which will give us A, I equal to 0, which will guess is A. We will append the A, we will append the A to the temp, and after that we will again proceed further, which is s equal to start plus 1, and the letters would be again computed. So when we see here start equal to start plus 1, everything else is same, and it will again come here and it will again compute the letters. In this case the letters would be D, E and F. Once it comes with D, E and F, we will again be iterating over 8. So basically it will again have I equal to 0, which will give D, I equal to 1 will give E, I equal to 2 will give F, and then we will again add it to the temp, and we will again make s equal to 2, and then we again call this method. Once we call this method, we will hit over here start equal to digits dot length. So we will add into a result temp, which is basically AD in this case, and then we will return. So when we will return, we will come to this point. So once we come to this point, our temp still holds AD, and when it's going back, we don't want D to be here, because if it's here and if it reaches here, it will append E and it will become ADE. So in that case we need to remove the last character. We remove the last character, it will go back with A, then I will become 1, it will give value E, and then it will come to AE, and this way the code will continue. Now the code is done, and we can add some boundary conditions, like if digits is null or digits dot length equal to 0, what we want to return is result. Now I have copied the code here, and let's see. So the solution is accepted. Thanks for watching. Now let's talk about the complexity. So we can see when we were having our input as 2 and 3, for 2 we were having 3 combinations, which is A, B and C, because 2 was getting mapped to A, B, C. Then when we were considering 3 was getting mapped to D, E and F. So there was one branch for D, one for E, one for F, which lead us to AD, AE and AF. Similarly we had BD, BE, BF and CD, CE and CF. Now we can see the maximum number of maximum mappings for any particular digit can be 4, like for P, Q, R, S. So for computing the complexity, if we assume like the max mapping is 4, so if we have a digit of size n, then in the worst case we will have 4 into 4 into 4 till n times, and that will give the complexity of 4 raised to power n. In this example also we were having 3 combinations, so 3 into 3, there were 9 iterations, so that will be the time complexity of this program. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.